What is up, lefties? How is it going? This is your boy, Michael Harris, joined as always with Lincoln Cook. How is it going?
It's going good. Happy to be back in Colorado. Had a little fun adventure
Yeah,
for the last few days, which we'll dig into a little bit. How is California?
it's good. A little on the chillier side for springtime, but it still didn't rain. Got to get out and play a little disc golf this last week, so um, it's still Southern California. It's beautiful here, and can't complain too much.
Well, that is fair enough. I mean, you can't have perfect weather all the time. You got to
Yeah,
let some of us have it. But
exactly.
we got a good show today. Should be a quicker episode. We'll see. We always say that, and
Keep
then we
going.
go an hour long, anyways. But we're gonna recap the Jonesboro Open, talk about some storylines from that event, as well as a couple debatable topics, we'll say, as
Yeah.
to the course and the coverage. And then we'll jump into a couple dealer's choice options. And then for our in the bag, we've made it through all the pieces of my bag, which we'll do a final in the bag in a couple weeks here before USAMs. But so we'll have a little bit of a different episode this week. And then lastly, talk about what we're working on.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. We will also, if you're joining us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, feel free to jump on over to YouTube to check out the video that
We see our ugly mugs.
goes along with this podcast. But thank you for joining us, no matter where you are uh, joining us from. So we're gonna jump into our picks from the Jonesboro Open. Uh, this side of I think it has like one of the longest names in like Pro Tour titles. So is the Disc Golf Pro Tour Played Against Sports Jonesboro Open presented by Prodigy.
Yeah, that's
Mouthful.
a mouthful.
Yes.
Yeah, when he was announcing the winner, spoiler, Calvin won. He's like, "You're playing again, DGPT Jonesboro Open champion. Not once, not twice." He like just kept going on forever. It
Yeah.
was
Just give him the trophy. Let's
geez,
get out of
man.
here.
All right.
Do we want to go over our picks or just results first?
Let's go over results and then we'll go over
Cool.
picks.
So MPO, kind of had a jumbled leaderboard, but Calvin ended up taking it down by 3 strokes at 31 under par.
Came down to the last hole.
Yes, it did. It was exciting. Then we had Ben Calloway, Isaac Robinson, Eagle McMahon tied at negative 28. Andrew Presnell, Bradley Williams, Kyle Klein, Corey Ellis, and James Conrad all tied at negative 26. So
for
5
fifth
strokes
place.
for 5th place. So there are 5 of them there. Gannon Burr rounded out the top 10 at 25 down.
25. Jeez.
Yeah, so exciting. Some familiar names back on the top of the leaderboard. But it was
a couple newer names in Ben Calloway, Presnell, and Bradley Williams.
Yep. And Corey Ellis. I think that was his best finish of the year so far.
Yeah, I think so. He usually turns it on in the woods a little bit.
Yeah. We'll just hop over to FPO quickly, but we got Cat Merch taking it down over Haley King in a 1-hole playoff. That was really exciting. And then we had Aria Castruita.
Wow, good pronunciation.
I hope I didn't butcher that one.
Sounded good to me.
3rd place, 19 down. Holland Handley, negative 17. And Evelina Solonen, negative 16. Great to see her, not quite podium, but like
not 25th place.
Yes. Relevant again, back towards the top. Like,
I wonder what her C1X percentage was, though.
I don't want to know, but
that could be the difference between First place or 25th place?
Yeah, because I guarantee you it probably was the difference between first and fifth.
Yep.
Um,
And then surprise, surprise, Kristen Tatar,
yeah,
sixth
se
place finish at minus
seven
15.
seven strokes out of the lead. Um,
Which like boohoo for her. Like nobody's
yeah,
worried about it,
no,
but still surprising for a longer course that she was not closer to the top.
yeah. I just think that course not necessarily doesn't play to her style, but that course plays more to other
FPO
players,
players, yeah,
other FPO players' styles of
agreed.
being more aggressive off the tee, running more putts, and being able to run more putts, and avoiding extra trouble. That course
Sure,
um, has trouble areas, but it doesn't have out of bounds where you're
extra
adding extra
strokes,
strokes to your game.
right?
You're just it's either birdie or chip up your par when you can make your putts.
Yeah.
Um, and
Although that's kind of a decent segue into the third round where there was a lot of wind.
mhm,
So pitching up for par was not a gimme par anymore.
no,
That's why we see some higher scores there in the third round.
yeah,
But Haley King was able to put up a pretty good round as well as Evelina in that final round.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Kat had a sizable lead going in, not sizable, but had the lead and did what she needed to do to just maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's good. I think she is the now seventh or eighth different FPO winner
Oh,
this year,
yeah.
which is exciting because at the start of the year, you had Kat win, and then Paige won an event later, and then Kristen won. And so you're like, oh, here we go again with the big three just going to be dominating. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it has been kind of a breath of fresh air that there is so much parity um, in the FPO division. So I
Oh,
think
who
it's good.
else won outside of Cat?
Macy
It was
Macy
Macy.
Valdez.
Yep.
Um, there is Sayananda.
Was that
Oh,
Texas State's?
yeah.
That's
Um,
right.
I don't I don't think Owen Scoggins won.
No,
Um,
but I mean that's five at least.
yeah. I do know there's someone else that
Maybe
we
it
are
was the
forgetting
Silver Series or
from earlier.
something.
Yeah. Um, but still just exciting.
Yeah,
So,
good to see some more like we were talking about this last week actually, where it's like we don't want to see Kristen play worse. We want to see everybody else play better and push
yeah,
for better golf, better competition.
exactly. And I think that's kind of what happened this week was Kristen wasn't her best, but other players stepped up to overtake her,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is good. So,
Yeah.
so we'll go over our picks real quick. Um, you had Anthony Barella, Drew Gibson, Ezra Aderhold, Adam Hammies, and Ben Calloway. Great last pick in Ben Calloway. Um, and so they gave you a total of not 203, it's 97, if I do my math correctly. We got to take
Yeah.
out
Pretty
the
good. Pretty good math.
Nick Hansen pick. Um,
Yeah. Adam
so they got
Hammonds hurt me with that 44th place.
a little bit, but it's all right. It's all right. You whooped me in the women's division. You got look at that. 1, 2, and 25th. Um, but then so I had Eagle. So if you just look at these, we had Eagle second place. You had a second place. Uh, Nicholas Antela 15, AB 15.
Mm-hmm.
You had Drew 23. I had Aaron Gossage and Cole Vidal on 23.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which the difference between uh It was 11th place, 15th place, and 23rd place was 3 strokes
Yeah, which is just wild.
because there was just so many ties for it.
Yeah,
Again, speaking to the fact that this was only a 3 round tournament.
yeah, exactly. Um, and then I had Joel Freeman, who kind of gave me that little boost. If if I do the math, am I because 78 minus what? Did we both get 97 points? I think we tied.
Dude, hold on. This is
Because
great podcasting right here.
I had a 23 and you had an extra
I had
13.
90. I had 97, and
We tied at 97
you have 175
minus 78
minus 78,
is
97.
97.
Holy cow, we did tie, which means that you win it because you had the wild card pick.
I mean, we can it can push. I think
No,
it
that's
can
how we
push.
did it in the past.
Oh,
I think
okay.
week one we tied exactly, and you had the wild card pick,
Well,
or no, I had the wild card pick, so I won it.
thank you, Tristan, for performing for me. Appreciate that. That's
Yes,
kind of
sir.
cool that we tied like that.
Yeah, that is
So,
funny.
and then my FPO picks, Ella Hansen got me 7 points, Rebecca Cox 32nd, and Caroline Henderson did not finish, which
DNF.
yeah. So hope she's okay. Hope she continues touring. Um, a lot of potential, I
Seemed
think.
like a course she would do decent at too.
Yeah, I thought so too, but what the difficult greens on the different slopes and stuff, if you're not hitting your putts, the chances for rollaways or bigger numbers kind of can increase.
Yeah.
So, what were your overall takeaways, points of interest, or thoughts on the tournament?
There are 3 main areas that I just wanted to bring up slash touch on, which is first, and I already mentioned it, the wind conditions, rounds 1 and 2, absolutely perfect. And then
Hmm.
round 3, there's a lot of wind. Like it looked like Colorado out there. So
Yeah.
that definitely played a big factor into it. And there's debate as to whether or not wind should be factored into the difficulty of a course when building the course. So I know there's some debate, controversy as to those types of discussions, right? Second piece is just, is this course still, has the Disc Golf Pro Tour outgrown this course? And third is James freaking Conrad at minus 17 round 2. Like,
Yeah.
holy balls.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one for us to finish on. But
Yeah.
we can say that a topic. Um, so the first one you're talking about um,
Should the
courses.
wind should the wind be factored into the difficulty of the course when they're building the course?
Um,
Or potential weather conditions?
I would say yes, when you are in a place like an Oklahoma, like a Texas, like an Arkansas, when it is windy there 90% of the time. Um, they were saying that those conditions that they had were not unprecedented, but very uncharacteristic for the area.
It was
Um,
stronger than normal.
it was stronger than it. It's normally stronger than normal. It's normally windy.
Normal is stronger than normal.
Yeah. Um, I think course when you're making the fairways, I think it should be with um wind should be able to play a factor. Like you don't want a double Mando 400 feet down the fairway that is 15 feet wide, forcing players when it's going to be windy. Um,
I don't think you want that in general, but
I know.
I get your point.
But I just think it is easy. I mean, with that wind that was there on Friday, I mean, someone shot nine down. I think was it Ben shot a nine down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he showed that it's still scoreable, but the leaders only shot five, four, five or four down, right?
I can't remember. Eagle took a triple bogey on hole 18. So
Yeah, so I think it was hard. It is laid out hard enough, but going into our second point, I think they do need to make it harder.
yeah, it's a birdie or die course, and there's only a few holes where birdies are actually very difficult to get, but par is very easy.
Yes.
And in my mind, I don't feel like it should be that way. It should be like birdie is because you had a great shot
Yep.
and you did what you were supposed to and you executed perfectly and you get rewarded with the birdie.
Mhm.
But a par should not just be easy to get if you don't hit that perfect birdie.
Yep.
Like a
I
par should be rewarding, right? Like in golf, if you hit the fairway, hit the green and two putt for a par,
yeah.
you said, "Okay, I did this hole properly.
Yeah.
That's good." So in disc golf, I think a par should be you throw your approach shot or throw your tee shot and then throw your approach shot to 60 feet and then two putt from there.
Yeah.
That is more along the lines of how I think moving or the pro tour should be designing courses for the top tier players.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take. I don't know.
I think what you need to do is make so what this course showed me was a good shot was rewarded with an easier birdie,
Mm-hmm.
but a bad tee shot was not penalized with the chance of bogey.
Exactly.
You
Because
know,
there was no OB.
there's no OB. So like if you do have a bad tee shot, you can still throw, close your eyes, throw it wherever you want to, pitch up, type in for par.
Sure.
Like I on the final round, you saw Eagle do it on, I'm not exactly sure what hole, but the one where you
The par
gotta,
five.
no, par four. Um, Highs are out, and then it's the forehand chip shot around the corner to the left, to the
Oh,
right, I mean.
the super tight corner shot.
Yes,
Like they throw a spike forehand hyzer.
yes.
Yeah,
So Eagle hit early tree, and he is just throwing the disc as high and far as he can, and
like 475 feet in
and it
the air. It's
it
like,
crashes into some woods nearby, tap pitches out, taps in. Like all you have to do, make that little island of woods. Like it's already penalizing, but make it like a bunker green, so it's like a hazard. So it's an extra
yeah,
stroke if you go in it type of thing.
right.
Um, but I don't know. It's I just think
That
when
I
there's
I
no
think that the
bogeys,
yeah I think the course needs to be more penalizing for bad shots, like you said, to essentially make the pro tour harder.
yeah. I it's not even well,
Because an average player like you or I could go and play for par on almost every hole, right?
yeah,
If we say, hey, we're not playing for any birdies here, we're just playing for par, we could probably shoot even to six over
yeah,
without terribly too much difficulty.
yeah,
But if like a pro comes to a local course where you and I shoot -6, -9, they're like perfect golf on those courses.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It just becomes a putting game, which I know that's what wins tournaments, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't want putting like a tournament and a course should determine who is the best thrower, approacher, and putter
Mm-hmm.
for the weekend, not just who can putt it the best.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah. And
it,
then moving to James freaking Conrad,
there
man.
was one there's one dude who putted it the best.
Did you watch that round? Because I haven't seen it.
I did not.
I just saw that he shot -17.
Yeah,
What hole
uh,
did he miss?
he missed two. He eagled the par five.
Oh, okay.
He missed it was either five or six, and then
Was it one?
10 or 11. It was in the last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I saw the scorecard. I don't remember it. but I do know it
Gotcha.
was there and then there.
I mean, it's still just freaking impressive.
Yeah,
It was perfect scoring conditions, but he did that primarily backhand because even the tight uh the hole that we mentioned,
yeah,
the spike forehand approach hyzer, that hole as well as the off the tee like 350 spike forehand hyzer,
hmm,
both those he threw backhand.
yeah, yeah.
It's dadgum impressive.
It's 2 weeks in a row that I mean, even Isaac was finished second.
Yeah.
Um, it just goes to show you the strength of having a good backhand is you're still capable of competing at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain courses you do need to have a more elite level forehand power, but you can work around it with a good backhand.
Yeah, I think they're kind of proving that you don't need it, but
Yeah,
it's an added asset.
yes, exactly.
I mean,
Um,
Nathan Queen did it
yeah,
as a lefty backhand.
yeah. And I
Shout
mean,
out to the lefties. Actually, rock on to the lefties there.
yeah. And then even watching Eagle, which I did see him throw some forehands. Um,
Looked it was so effortless and smooth and easy, and still went just massively far.
yeah,
What the heck?
yeah, it's crazy. He looks like he's like chipping it with his wrist.
Yeah, he's
Like
putting more wrist into it
it's
instead
like
of
it's a
elbow
little
and
chip,
shoulder.
yeah, chip shot, and it's going 320 feet. I'm like, oh, you suck.
Yeah.
Um, but him
Uh,
being right, like backhand dominant and still being able to compete. So yeah, work on your backhand shots. You
that,
don't need to be equally 400 feet backhand and 400 feet forehand. If you can get your backhand 450 and then your forehand is serviceable at 250 even,
or
I think
three. I mean, 350 realistic.
yeah,
You can go 350, 450. Like that's it's going to put you in position to be able to compete
yeah,
at any amateur level.
yeah, for sure.
Lastly, sorry, I forgot to mention this on my points I wanted to discuss.
That's fine.
Just the finish of this tournament.
Yeah,
Eagle and Calvin, for context, were tied at minus 20, no,
29
minus
30.
31.
Yes, 31.
Minus 31 going into the final hole. Calvin steps up and throws. Was it Calvin first or Eagle first?
Calvin.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Like, yeah, Calvin steps up and throws a piped drive, perfect, right where it needs to be,
Hmm.
down the center of the fairway. And this is not an easy shot. I think this is like the hardest hole in the course, if at least top three hardest holes in the course
Yeah,
in terms of where you have to get your shot to be able to get the birdie. That
yeah,
is, we'll say.
yeah,
Eagle goes, well, I'm gonna throw a big spike hyzer over the top. Nice throw, 550, and it flipped up on him instead of carrying the hyzer, and he went OB.
yeah,
And then to try to make a miraculous save from there, he tried another crazy shot and didn't make it through. And at that point, he was like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna try to throw it in now,"
yeah.
and ended up taking a triple bogey. So he went from being tied for first to
Tied for
tied
second.
for second with two other people from Chase Card and finished second place.
Yeah.
Whereas Calvin had a nice, easy finish for him. He just knew, all right,
Oh,
just got to throw a nice straight second shot,
yeah.
toss a nice up shot, and then tap in my victory
Hmm.
for his third Jonesboro Open.
Yeah. Dominates that course.
Yeah, it's impressive though. Like,
Yeah.
really, it is just so impressive to watch him just throw laser beams across
Yeah.
fields consistently.
Yeah. Um, I'm surprised with Eagles play going the big sky hyzer like that. Um, but also kind of power to him
Hmm.
because he's playing his game plan. He
Yep.
saw he
He
saw
did that in the first or the second round as well.
he saw Calvin lace that shot. I'm pretty sure Calvin went first because he was coming off of an eagle on hole 16, I want to say, the par five.
Yeah, 15 or 16, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but like he didn't get toyed into playing to Calvin's game. You know, it's one of
Yeah.
those instances where Calvin pulled it off, Eagle didn't. But if Eagle did pull it off and say Eagle put his like in a fantasy world, Eagle put his up like next to the basket, made his birdie, and Calvin missed, we're like, oh my God, Eagle did the like craziest shot ever. It
Yeah.
it
I mean,
it's just
because round two, Eagle did go over the top and he did birdie.
yeah,
So
it's
with
just
that
one of
game plan,
exactly. So it's just one of those things where your game plan just didn't work out, but you stuck to it, and that's just part of disc golf is you got to stick to what you know best, what you're comfortable with, and throw the shots that you know, not the ones that you think you should do.
sure.
Yeah. So,
Well, that's Jonesboro.
yeah, great tournament. We got a weekend off, which will be
So
fun.
consider yourselves lucky and maybe we'll see if we can bring a guest on next week. Dot, dot, dot.
Maybe, maybe.
Okay, we'll dealer's choice. I got a hopefully a fun one.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen on, I'm sure it's on the TikToks. I don't use TikTok. I use YouTube. But I've seen a couple videos on YouTube where they will say rank these discs in order from 1 to 5, and you don't know what the next disc is.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a disc. You're gonna rank it 1 to 5, and then we'll see how it ends up. And so I'm gonna give you 5 discs, and I've randomly or not randomly. I've purposefully selected these 5 discs, but
yeah.
I'm randomizing the order that I'm telling you them.
Okay. Okay.
So I have 2 of them for you. I have a putter and a mid-range one for you.
Oh, so I'm doing two five groups.
Yes.
Okay, and then they're all putters, and then
Yep.
all mid. Okay.
So rank
Okay.
these putters and then rank these mids.
Okay. All right.
Thought this would be kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So first one, Discmania P2.
That's a solid number two.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. That's intense there. Uh the MVP, or I guess it's Axiom Envy.
It's so hard. Just what that disc has done for MVP Axiom has been insane. I'm just gonna have to go three.
Okay. The Innova AVR.
Five.
5.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And sorry, need to find the other one. And then we have the Discraft Luna.
Just because of what I'm going to guess is left, I'm gonna go with four for the Luna.
That's a bad choice. Because lastly, you have the DGA Blowfly.
Oh, that's for sure number one. You kidding me? That's a cheater disc. You just have to throw it at the rim. You can miss anywhere between the chain to the bottom of the cage, and that thing will go in.
Possibly.
Ugh.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Hey, you heard it here first. The blowfly, the greatest putter in all the lands.
Okay, well, I think that means you have to bag it now.
Possibly.
Maybe we'll do a challenge, and loser has to bag the Blowfly.
Yeah, we should do one when we're in Michigan. We'll do a challenge.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Playing for a disc for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay. Ah,
Okay, and then mid ranges. You ready?
yes.
Okay, Prodigy M3.
4.
Okay. The Discraft Buzz.
Hmm. I'm gonna go. That is a good one. I'm gonna go 2.
Okay. The Dynamic Discs EMAC Truth.
3. That's a solid 3.
The Discmania MD3.
1.
And the Innova Rock X3.
Perfect. 5.
That was perfect. Well done.
You almost fooled me, but I would have. Yeah, that's almost exactly what I would have those discs be,
Yeah,
which
no,
which
that
is
was
kind of
good.
cool.
I randomized the order. Like I tried to do like just like a randomizer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the Rock X3
yeah,
that was like I purposefully selected that disc to be kind of the potentially last disc, as well as the Blowfly
yeah.
being potentially the last disc. But how would you have ranked those putters if you didn't if you did know the order?
Now that I know it, it's hard because the Envy it's one of those weird, almost like, kind of like a zone-esque. Mostly people just throw it. You can putt
Yeah,
with
it's
it,
like
but
a throwing putter, but
it's a throw. It's more of a throwing putter than it is a putting putter. So knowing that, I would probably put the Luna #1
me too.
just because has it's great for putting and for throwing.
Yeah,
Um, Luna, the Envy, P2, AVR, and then Blowfly.
that's what my order would be as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Very good.
for sure.
Well, I'll have to come up with a couple of these again. And I purposefully did it like just kind of
Mids, putters.
popular
Oh yeah,
putters
yeah,
with
yeah,
one crappy one, and then popular mids that are all pretty much the same disc with one that's like the Rock X3 because the Rock X3 nobody really throws.
yeah.
And then I have a couple of ideas for types or groups of discs to do this again. So
Nice, cool. It'll be
yeah,
reoccurring.
yeah, we'll call that rank these discs.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Do you have a dealer's choice for us this week, Sir
Um,
Michael?
it's more just a conversation.
Okay.
Um, and I like that you brought up the Rock and the AVR, but I was just thinking about discs, which ones I like, which ones I don't like, which ones don't get enough love, which ones get too much love. And
Sure. Overrated, underrated.
I thought we could just do a 5 discs that are, and this is just open conversation between us, 5 discs that are overrated and 5 discs that are underrated. Or we could maybe do 3 overrated and 5 underrated, for our listeners to kind of get out there and try so they can be from our experience or whatever. But um and AVR and The Rock are 2 of my 5 like kind of overrated discs in my
Wow.
opinion. Yeah,
The Rock, I think, is overrated.
yeah.
AVR, I feel like nobody really throws the AVR.
It is. I know, but it's still like the most popular putter ever, and I just
Only
can't stand
because
the feel of
everybody
it.
buys it because they buy a DX AVR Shark and Leopard
I
in
know.
an Innova starter pack, which is the
Yeah,
most highest selling pack of ever, whatever.
I know. I know.
But
But
I can't
still,
name a single person other than my buddy Bryce who puts with an AVR, and he puts with the G Star AVR.
what
Why
a crazy,
Bryce puts with the premium plastic putter, Connor and I will never be able to tell you.
what a crazy
But it
man.
works for him.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think just different manufacturer discs, if there's anything that stands out. Another one, and I'm sorry, Innova Simps, but
Dude,
I think I might hurt a lot of feelings, but the Wraith
I was just gonna say that.
is kind of an over.
It's overrated.
Overrated disc.
Yes, because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the Wraith's so underrated," and then it became overrated
Yeah,
because
pretty.
everybody's like, "Yeah, you can't throw a destroyer, so throw a Wraith," and everybody thinks, "Oh great, I'll throw a Wraith, and I will throw this just like Calvin throws his destroyers, but it'll match my arm speed," and it doesn't.
No. Yeah. Um,
That's
an
good.
another overrated, but this is like a little bit weird. Overrated for like newbie, beginner, amateurs that go to a disc golf shop and they're like, "Oh, I need a disc that goes farther." When they don't have the arm speed and they're new to the game. The Mamba.
Hmm.
I have found more Mambas in Expo ponds than any other disc combined. And I threw one when I was in Colorado. I bought my wife one because like, oh yeah, -4 turn. This will be understable. Mm-mm. No, it's not. Don't throw anything that fast, amateurs. Like
Yeah.
you don't need 11 speed. Get your 7 speed. That's like neutral. That will get you far. Not a understable 11 speed. Um,
Do you want to turn this into an underrated, overrated Innova conversation? Because I think we could instead of
sure,
broadening the whole
sure,
spectrum.
sure. Let's
Because
do
I've
that.
got a couple underrated Innova discs
Okay.
that are overlooked and are fantastic discs.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So an overlooked disc that people just kind of like look down on, but really could be a huge fix for a lot of amateurs game is a Valkyrie.
Same, same. I was gonna say same thing. Yeah,
Let's go, dude.
yeah,
We are in lefty unison right now. This is
yes.
good.
That was one of my first um ventures into like a control driver
Hmm.
fairway speed disc. Um, but I had this old gummy champion plastic one, and that thing was not flippy ever. I don't know
Yeah.
where it is, but I wish I still had it because it was a stable boy and it's exactly what I
Or
would want right
girl,
or girl is
because
exactly
it's a Valkyrie.
yeah, it's exactly what I would want right now to be like throw it hard flat and like just let the disc do the -2 turn, but then still come back at the end. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a
I just think more AMs could actually benefit from a disc like that rather than trying to go to a Thunderbird. I love Thunderbirds. You know I love my Thunderbirds. I've
mhm,
got a whole wall of them.
yeah,
But I think a Valkyrie is a much more like the Savant is not understable enough.
yeah,
The Savant is like between the Valkyrie and the Thunderbird, but really like Thunderbirds are very stable, especially brand new.
mhm.
But my buddy Jordan, who I just played with in Vegas, which we didn't even talk about that, but we'll come back.
We'll get to
Uh,
that.
he threw a Halo Valkyrie all over the place and was just killing it.
Nice.
And it was just like, man, I forgot that is like a very solid disc. And I don't really know anybody else that bags Valkyries.
Yeah, cool. Um, one that I put in my bag. So this is a kind of an underrated one. I had it in my bag for a little bit when I was looking for the cow chop replacement, but was a rhino.
Yeah.
It's it's
Only Calvin throws it.
it's kind of unique in its what it does, but it's a beaten pig right out of the box.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
And so don't get your R Pro pigs and throw them for a year to get them to like Precious Child seasoned. Like just go
Mhm.
buy a rhino. You can replace it and it'll just be a nice straight hold any line you put on it, but still kind of like stay very torque resistant. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm glad we're doing some underrated Innova discs because we just kind of crapped on Innova
I
for
know it's
a hot
okay.
minute there.
It's
But
okay.
another underrated disc that I am a huge lover of is the TL.
Mm,
So the TL3 is kind of making a resurgence or like kind of pushing into people's bag.
Yeah.
since a couple pros started throwing them, and they made like the Halo TL3, but the TL is a 7 speed. It's like a seven. It's like an FD,
Yeah.
but like flies like a beat in FD,
Yeah.
like
Nice.
out of the box. And the TL is a great, like, that was the disc that helped me throw backhands when I
Yeah.
first started playing.
Perfect.
You can ask Connor and Bryce. They were every time that I had a hole where I threw the TL or TL3, they were just like, "Dang it, I don't know, it's going to be a good shot," and
Yeah.
it was like every time.
Yeah.
It's a good disc. It corrected my form, honestly.
Nice.
Like it was like a self like correcting. Like if I had a mistake in my form, the
You
disc
you,
was
you knew what it
neutral
was.
enough that it would just kind of, you know, stay. Like if I put too much ante, it has enough stability that it would kind of hold straight. And if I threw too much hyzer, it didn't have that much stability that I would just like dump out. Like it would still go for a little ways.
Yeah.
It's a good
No.
disc.
Yeah. And then I guess it's not underrated because it's the number one selling disc in the history of discs, I think. Um, but in the G Star plastic, I have a destroyer and
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. And I think for intermediate to advanced level arms, it is the perfect, like, you will get turn out of it, but it still has a destroyer finish. Um, so don't don't buy your Calvin Halos that take a year of
No,
throwing them
more
on.
more than a year.
Exactly. Like you don't need what they're throwing. They throw it a lot harder, a lot faster than we do. So just get your G Star one, and mine's held up pretty well so far, and it still flies great. So
It's like
cool.
trying to think if I have any other overrated ones. Yeah, I don't know. I think we hit on a good
Yeah,
couple there.
yeah, perfect.
Speaking of discs, moving towards our in the bag ish. Uh, I had a VIP sword that I picked up in a used bin for $8, but half of it was like it was white, and half of it had a little hue of like sewage.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
looked like it had been an expo, and somebody found it and
They're like, I don't want this.
exchanged it at Fly Greens for some store credit.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, well, this stinks. So I washed it. It smelled a little better. I used acetone on it to just like wipe the stamp, wipe the name on it, and it smelled a little better. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to just let this thing sit in acetone for like 5 minutes or something and see if I can get the hue and the smell off of it. So, I'd rather it smell like acetone than anything else. So I thought that would work. That would be a good idea. Well, here's a lesson for you kids. Don't leave it in there for a half hour because
What happened?
the top of the disc raised like an inch and a half and it just completely destroyed the plastic.
Oh no.
So I just wasted that disc. I was gonna have somebody try to dye the Chiefs logo on it, but I'll just have to get a tournament sword instead.
Hey, that's a way to make a flat disc a little domey. So
It's so dumb.
if you want to learn if you want to
Paisley's like playing
manipulate
with it
them,
because she's like poking her finger like down into it because the plastic's like so soft now and
yeah. Wow,
rough. So don't do
that's
that,
tough.
kids.
Yeah. Um, since we are done with our you're in the bag, do we want to talk about your disc golf trip slash work trip this last few days?
Sounds like a good use of art in the bag since I only took 5 discs with me.
Yeah, easy to talk about.
Yes, sir. Good idea. So I just got back from Vegas today. We had a big accounting conference, big nerdy accounting conference down in Vegas.
Numbers,
But
yay.
with I want to say it was like 2,500 people
Wow.
registered for the event, and all of those are accountants or work within the accounting world. So like I was a former accountant. Now I'm working for an accounting software company. So like we were there, accounting firms were there, all that stuff. Very nerdy, very fun. Not really. But my buddy Jordan lives down in Vegas, and I was gonna go see him. And I brought some discs just because I was like, hey, maybe I'll get off a day early or something, or like I'll end the day early and could go play, a local course with him kind of thing. Well, Jordan suggested, hey, let's go play Wild Horse instead. Let's go play the Las Vegas Challenge. And I was like, wait, can we? So we did. We played it yesterday. We got a golf cart and just zipped around the course, played it pretty quickly. Well, I mean, it was like still almost a 2 hour round, even with
Yeah.
the golf cart.
Oh yeah.
Granted, we did have to wait a couple times for golfers to pass us because like we have to yield to the golfers. So that was annoying. But got to play the Las Vegas Challenge, which was super fun. And
Nice.
I played super bad.
It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah. Started out bogey. Essentially, I was moving low elevation, only had 5 discs in my bag, and didn't fully know the like distances on a couple of the shots. Like I didn't have a rangefinder. I was just kind of
Yeah.
using U disc, and my depth perception was clearly off. So like the first hole, I short armed it, thought I was fine. Second hole, my second shot juiced it like 50 feet long and 80 feet right, or one or the other. So I took bogeys in the first 2 holes, and then essentially I played well until I tried to throw a forehand with a distance driver
Yeah.
and realized that it was not stable.
Yeah. What disc did you have with you?
Took the inner core, which I'm putting with. I took my bluey beat-in zone to be like kind of a mid-range and approach disc. And then I took a Orbit Escape, a C-Line FD3, and a Color Glow C-Line DD3,
Nice.
which I thought would be more torque resistant for the forehand distance driver shot. It was not.
Yeah. Is that the one that you just bought from OTB?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. 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 Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
good disc. I got good flights out of it backhand. Don't get as much distance backhand because it doesn't quite have the glide that like a sword or even a cloud breaker has more glide than it.
Yeah.
But I was able to throw controlled backhand distance shots, and it was not. I tell you what, it was nice to be able to throw a hyzer flip to turning and fade distance driver shot.
Right.
Nice bonus of playing at 2,000 feet instead of 6,000 feet.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Was that your first golf course you've ever played?
No,
'Cause
I played Mulligan's,
Okay.
which is where they had Worlds,
Oh yeah, and you played Emporia.
and I played Emporia Country Club.
Yeah.
Those are the three.
Yeah. Um.
It's a lot of fun with a golf cart, though. Tell you what.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot better than walking.
Yeah, zip through the course.
Yeah. Um. It's so fun to play courses. So I've played like Goat Hill,
Mm.
where you get to watch coverage of them playing, and you're watching them throw these shots, and you throw them, and you see the elevation change that you're going over. You see where they're landing. You're like, oh, like, yeah, it's just right out there. Of course I can throw that far. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
It is mind-boggling watching coverage and like being there in person to see how far, how easy these guys are throwing these discs on these courses. So did you have a greater, I mean, you've played some of their courses before, but like, did you have a greater respect for in those conditions, that course, like
Yeah,
how they
we were
play it?
20 plus mile an hour winds the whole time, so that was lame. Uh, I, the biggest like takeaway from like the looking at the course in its totality was the course is so much smaller than it looks on coverage.
I can see
Like
that.
on coverage, it looks like it's like a big golf course.
Yeah.
You're playing like across these fairways. It looks like there's a ton of distance on it. And when you get there, it's a lot tighter,
Yeah.
like surprisingly tighter. Like, for instance, hole one, right? You see them just throw that, they're throwing like
Forehands.
straight backhands or big forehands. And you think there's so much room to the left and so much room to the right to be able to throw these shots or whatever. But it's a lot tighter than it looks.
Yeah.
So that was kind of surprising. It was just like the difference between coverage and that. But then also just some of the holes where it's just like, and I'm playing for par. And because I like the hole is 500 feet, it's a par three, it's 500 feet. And I threw my first shot 350 feet. Oh, great. Well, it's
You need,
actually it's actually 530 and the basket's uphill. So now I got a 200-foot shot.
yeah.
It's
It,
like,
it's two shots to get there, not just one good one
yeah,
or one amazing one. But
yeah.
cool.
But it was
Um,
fun. My buddy killed me because I did horrible and he was draining putts like crazy.
nice.
And I was like, dang, Jordan, good job, man.
And that's what another question I was gonna ask. Like, how was putting in the wind with the inner core? How did you feel about that?
Generally fine. I had three holes where it wasn't fine.
Yeah.
One of them I sent you a video of. Steady tailwind right behind me. So
Yeah.
I aimed at the upper part of the chains. And instead of it dropping my disc, it lifted my disc and then skipped off the top of the basket and went like 35 feet long.
Yeah.
And then a headwind coming back, I just missed it left, but I was chain height.
Yeah.
So that was a super dumb one where I read the wind properly and it gave me a nice big bird right in my face, probably a double bird. And then another hole, I putted out of bounds, and I there's a headwind, and I tried to keep it low, but the basket was below me more than I realized. Like
Mhm.
looking back at the video, I can see the basket was like lower than I was. So putting down, I was really just putting at like top of the basket level,
Yeah.
and so it just lifted up and went out of bounds behind it. So I double bogeyed that. Those are my two double bogeys. Was
Yeah.
because of three putts.
Yeah. Yeah. Putting downhill with a headwind
It's dirty. I should have just used my
sou-
zone.
sounds miserable. Well, no,
Yeah,
because if you go any nose angle up, it is gonna just go right over the top. But if you putt like you're supposed to and go down into the basket, that's gonna drop it. It's weird because the
yeah.
headwind, like wild.
I did realize that I am a bit of a nose up putter though. Like
Yeah,
I kind of just like learned that about myself.
which isn't bad. I mean, I've seen those videos with Joel Freeman, and that's what he wants to be is a nose up putter, um, because he feels like it gives him the greatest chance of making it and the less distance recovery to like on the comebackers, something like that.
Whereas Ricky puts literally nose down.
I
It's
know it,
insane.
and it's hard because you look at Ricky and Gannon, and I'm sure there's another one that is one of the top putters in the world. Like theirs are just nose down bullets, and they
It,
just go
it doesn't make sense. I
straight
can't
in.
do it.
Yeah, so it's wild, it's impressive, but
Yeah.
that's that.
So yeah, the course was fun. Didn't lose any. I didn't lose any discs. Also the downhill island hole over the water.
The one you threw the forehand zone,
Yeah, where it's just a little pitch shot over it.
scary, huh?
I threw my buddy's jawbreaker forehand zone. It says it's 220. That's a dead lie. It's like 180.
Oh, it's short.
It's so short. I overshot it by like 40 feet.
Yeah, yeah,
I threw what I thought was a 220 shot and just so I just like kind of just gave it like a little just barely touch out over the water
yeah.
jawbreaker zone and
That looked miserable and so scary with a jawbreaker zone, not knowing if it was gonna come like be a stable zone.
it was brand new. He's hardly used it.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, I told him to buy it when we went to Emporia, and he used it like 10 times since then.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh, Whereas, like, if in an actual tournament, I would go backhand if there was no wind, because the backhand
Oh,
just played into the bank as a lefty.
and kind of counter skip towards it.
Yep, you're
Oh,
gonna just hit it into the bank, and it's just gonna not do anything. Especially if you throw something like softer plastic or whatever, like your caltrop.
yeah.
If you threw that, just bounce right into there, be no problem at all.
See, I would
Or
just be
I'd
do I
throw, or I'd throw my pig, but I
yeah.
didn't have that clearly.
See, I feel like what I like about that's what I would throw the slammer, the Saki slammer or the zone OS and just chop over it and let it just crash into the hill.
Yeah, the thing
Um,
is, you just have to throw 150 to 180 feet.
I can throw that 150 feet. It's as far as it
Yeah, no,
goes.
I'm just saying, like you're like, okay, I don't want to short arm this, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
still, cool course. Realized humbled me because
Good.
just I realized I still have a lot of work to do, obviously, but it makes me very glad that we are going to the toboggan a day early so we can get a practice round so I can understand distances in
Yeah.
terms of like how far I'm throwing, but also like, hey, the landing zone is actually this far, or if you go this far, it's going to pinch you off and you're not going to have a shot here.
Yeah.
Because those were the things that my buddy just wasn't doing that I was. I was pinching myself off in areas or catching limbs that I
Shouldn't have and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Whereas he knew, okay, I need to throw this backhand instead of a forehand where it shapes for a forehand and you throw a backhand here. And so he just was able to kind of just play the course better than I was.
Yeah.
And it made me very glad that we are going to have an extra round of the toboggan to get that practice before the actual tournament.
Yeah. Which will be fine. We're there a full day early, right?
Full day.
Yeah. Okay, that's gonna be great. Yeah,
It's going to be great.
we'll get 2 rounds in, walk it, whatever. So
Yeah,
sweet.
it's going to be a blast.
Cool. And then you're talking about you're excited, a lot of things you got to work on. What are you going to be working on this week?
So this week I have been, or this last week I've been pretty successful in getting a lot of power in my backhand and incorporating my legs a little more. And I feel like I've been able to add. I've been throwing 400 feet multiple times over the last like week and a half,
Nice.
which is super exciting.
Yeah.
That like I'm not just like maxed out at 360. Like I'm throwing 380 consistently, and now I'm having a couple that are pushing 400, 410, 420. Like I've had some really solid backhand shots. So one thing that I realized I wasn't doing is my trail arm is not kind of firing down. And
Yep.
so I'm kind of still doing a little flailing action with that trail arm. So if I can work on tucking that arm and try to just be a little bit faster through it, I can hopefully
Nice.
continue to just like make that a consistent 400 feet instead of like a great throws 400 feet or 410 feet.
Yeah.
So I can push that 380 to 400 potentially.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. That arm is so hard to get time because it's like nothing else in other sports. Like I feel like there's the only other thing that I would put it close to is like a
Figure skater.
like exactly figure skater where you are out and then close and twist to get the that quicker momentum spinning yourself around. So
Yeah.
it's different for sure.
It's like a little kid on a playground where you're on a spinny thing and you're like, "Ooh, this is so fun!" And then
And
you
then
pull yourself close and you spin so much faster, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna throw up."
exactly. God,
Yeah.
those that just is making my stomach twirl right now.
Dude, yeah, I won't get into it now, but I'm glad to be home and not on a plane.
Exactly.
We'll just say that.
Perfect. All right, so that's gonna do it for this episode of the Left Hand Backhand. Thank you all for hanging out with us. If you stayed along this long, we appreciate it. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends,
Share
and
with your grandma.
we'll be back next week with a kind of an off week from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So we'll have lots of fun, exciting games, maybe a guest. I don't know, but stick around. We should be having a good week, off week next week. So,
Let's get it.
peace.
Lefties out.